Have you here today for our social media presentation. My name is Laura Rowett. I'm a junior project manager at VGD. Behind me are my two friends and colleagues, social media manager Brandon Smith and our director of strategy, Robin Soleil. So put your hands together for these two. If you want to follow along the conversation throughout the event, our hashtag is up there, hashtag SMWBigImpact. And we let these two guys take it away.
Thank you so much for coming out to Social Media Week's opening keynote. It's not really the opening keynote, but I'm going to treat it like it's the opening keynote. And we are talking about small budgets and big impact, and I apologize for the mic, but I'm just coming off of a bronchitis, so it will be better for everyone this way. Hopefully won't lose my voice, I apologize. So to get things started, I actually wanted to thank Social Media Week for doing this event. I've been part of lots of conferences and events, and I think Social Media Week is truly one of those events where people come to learn and exchange information. One of the things that I love and hate about my job is that everything changes every 5 minutes. So for us to come together and share information and form partnerships, I think is very important. I wanted to start this presentation by telling you why I think small budgets are important, and then we actually sold out 2 weeks ago, and we were one of the most bookmarked events, so I think I don't need to explain why small budgets are important. And we have everyone in this room from small non-profit organizations all the way to Fortune 500 marketing directors. So small budgets are relevant for everyone, not just actual small budgets. And I explain a bit about what we consider to be a small budget. And we just wanted to share with you some of our learnings and some of the examples of the campaigns that we are running on a small budget, and hopefully it will be beneficial for you. So before we get started, I wanted to tell you a bit about ourselves so you know who you're dealing with. VGD is a New York-based digital marketing agency, and we are dealing with every aspect of creative, digital, and social. We are involved with mobile apps all the way to digital strategy, social media campaigns, content management, mobile websites, and our experience, VGD's most famous clients are probably Macy's or Verizon's. We've been doing mobile app work with them, but we also work a lot with the city of New York. Before we joined the agency with Brandon, we've been working with some of the largest brands out there and multinational companies, but it's going to sound weird, but I'm really grateful for the opportunity to actually work with small budgets as well, not just Fortune 500s, because sometimes we make the most important and most relevant work when we actually forced to deal with small budgets. Small budget keeps us on the edge of the seat all the time, and it forces us to be as creative as possible and as connected as we possibly can be. So if I would want to tell you what's the number one thing that I recommend for you to do when you are dealing with a small budget, it would probably be to actually get a bigger budget. And of course I want it to be funny, it's going, but I actually mean it. From our experience, especially when we are talking about small budgets, we meet lots of decision makers and stakeholders, especially in the last 2 years, where we heard, you know what, social media, sure, I'm going to hire an intern and they can take care of that. Or I have a teenage son and a teenage daughter and they're so good at social media. All their posts are always really popular, so why don't we just hire them and they can take care of social media? When we're talking about small budget, we are not talking about that type of small budget. We do believe that social media needs budgets, and we do like to think of social media as a very important element of our marketing mix, and we like to think about it as marketing initiatives. And most of the time, we are actually going to be showing you campaigns where paid media was involved. Most of the campaigns that we are sharing with you today had an overall budget between $10,000 and $40,000, but sometimes the paid media budget was below $1,000. So for this presentation, this is what we consider to be a small budget. It's moving slower than I thought. We wanted to start by actually showing a few examples that we've done in the last year. And when I mentioned that the 5 minutes can be sometime, I mean, everything changing so quickly, sometimes 5 minutes in social media can seem like 10 years. While we were putting together these presentations with some of the work from the beginning of last year, it really feels like it was 15 years ago, and sometimes it looks like it was 15 years ago as well, so I apologize for that. One of the things that we wanted to talk about is actually lasting engagement and authenticity. I think this is something very important when, especially for us, it's very important when we come to talk about our campaigns. We did a campaign for John Jay College of Criminal Justice. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the college. They are a CUNY college. And our challenge for this client was basically, they have an effect called the summer melt. And basically what happens, students get enrolled into the school and they got accepted. And then during the summer they disappear. They either decide to drop out or choose another school. So basically our challenge was to stay engaged with this audience during the summer. And the way John Jay dealt with this in the past was through a direct mail campaign. They did amazing direct mail campaigns with our company. Our mother agency, Vanguard, has been developing traditional advertising campaigns for over 40 years. And this is how we, or personally me, got involved in the conversation when we started talking about the direct mail piece. And then I had the question for the clients, you know, direct mail is amazing and it can be very efficient, but we are talking to 16 to 18-year-olds who just graduated from high school and they are hitting the hardest summer of their life before going to college. Are they really sitting at home waiting for that direct mail piece to stay connected with the school that they are about to enter? So without any focus group, I said the answer is no, and they are probably not waiting for those direct mail pieces. So basically, what we wanted to do for them is develop a campaign that's really authentic, that builds into their environment, and create a digital platform for John Jay that's truly immersive with all the activities of John Jay through social media. So because we are talking about the School of Criminal Justice, we decided to do a crime scene investigation on social media, but we didn't want to murder anyone on campus. So we went with a missing persons case, and we created a character called Alex. And basically we built different social media profiles for Alex to be authentic, created a total persona and a character for him on social media. And then what we did, we actually did a make-believe scenario. We actually created the crime scene live. We sent Alex to Seattle on a family vacation. And in the middle of the night, he snuck out to go to the Sasquatch music festival to see his favorite band. But on the way back, his friends ditched him. He got on a bus, and at a rest stop, he was left behind. And that's how he couldn't make it back in time in the morning. Parents started to call the police. That was our missing case that the students had to solve through an 8-week engagement throughout the summer. So we were hinting clues all around the story, all the way for example, to posting videos of the music festival of the band that Alex was listening to. The students had to Shazam that actual video to find out who the band was. That was one of the clues that led to another one. So basically creating a truly engaging campaign that's really built into that environment where these students are constantly interacting with each other. And even the topic is something that's very similar to them during the summer. Let that be a music festival or let that be a road trip with friends. We also built a campaign around this, and other than just hinting the clues, we were engaging with everything from trying to make Alex as as we could, trying to build on the mystery and also communicating the actual summer challenge. And when they were solving all the clues, they could win an iPad at the end. Now, we were actually talking about a very small target audience. Our direct audience was actually only 1,500 students. Those were the ones that we wanted to reach out and hopefully convert into showing up on orientation. But throughout this campaign, throughout the 8 weeks, we actually had over 500 games played. Out of that, 208 were the freshmen that we wanted to connect with. We are very proud of the email opt-in. That was a very important communication channel for us moving forward and actually delivering messages about the college itself. And I don't know how many of you are involved with paid media, but from less than $1,000, a reach over 250,000 and almost 400,000 impression is, I believe it's a great number. So if you have a better number, then you should get up and leave numbers clear. But the campaign was actually a huge success. It went viral on the campus itself. And so the best result for us is actually the client coming back to us the following year and saying, you know what, this was amazing. We want to do the exact same thing next year. It was so good. Let's change the name of the character and we're good to go, right? Sure. A year passed. What changes in a year? None of the students are on Facebook. Our main platform was Facebook at that point. So it's very important for us to be ready to adapt. And we're going to share with you a case study video on what we did in the following year.
For incoming students to John Jay College of Criminal Justice, summer is a time to hang out with friends, go on a trip, and lay on the beach. It's not a time to wait around for communication from the school they're attending in the fall. Unfortunately for John Jay College, this disconnect can lead to an issue known as the summer melt, which means students lose contact with the school and subsequently don't show up for orientation or do not enroll at all once classes begin. How do you communicate with these incoming students during the summer without spamming them with weekly reminder emails? The John Jay Insta Challenge is a choose-your-own-adventure style game that is played exclusively on Instagram. Incoming students immerse themselves in the story of a group of friends during a birthday celebration. They follow the action, discover new places, and interact throughout the story. To tell the story, we created 20 profiles and took over 700 photos across 22 locations in NYC. Incoming students had to use various features of Instagram in order to progress through the 10-step story, including tagging, video, and the photo map. Along the way, they are searching for a hidden code that they must submit at the end. The code, hidden in plain sight, is simply the subway lines the group took on their trip throughout the city. With a target audience of 1,500 incoming students, over 550 codes were uncovered. In total, the campaign had over 650,000 impressions and 5,400 engagements. The accompanying email campaign had an open rate of 68%, with 95% of students opting in to continue receiving communication from John Jay College, and a 9% increase in Instagram followers. What does this all mean? More students attending John Jay College and getting the education they need in order to begin their careers. VGD. True impact.
Hashtag British voiceovers for the win. So as Rob mentioned, and as you just saw, we created a fully integrated Instagram campaign. It was totally immersive, utilizing so many different features of Instagram. It was so much work for us, but at the same time, the results were amazing. Actually, just last week, we received our statuettes from the AVA Digital Awards. We actually took home 3 awards for this campaign, and we're waiting to hear back for more, so fingers crossed. So as you can see, it looks like a very, very complex campaign in general. Over 700 photos taken. across 22 locations. It was just one long day for us. That entire photo shoot was done in one day, just with our iPhones, keeping it as authentic as possible to Instagram. And also because we're dealing with a smaller budget, we couldn't hire an entire crew to go around and set up all these different shots. So hence the 740 some odd pictures that we took. And actually our actors, it's a combination of John Jay College students and just some models that we found who wanted to add something to their portfolio. So we didn't have to spend money on things like that. So again, you can keep it very simple looking on the outside, but on the inside it could be more complex, but still at a lower budget. And as we mentioned, there was an accompanying email campaign. Our target audience was only 1,500 students once again. So that's a very minuscule amount of people to target on social media. It's possible to do, but very, very difficult in general. So email, supplementing email in order to increase the message awareness was very important to us. So we just sent out 5 emails during the course of this campaign. The very first one had an open rate of 85%. I mean, we really got these students' attention with this campaign from the start, and like I said, in the end, it was a 68% open rate. And again, 95% of people opted in to continue receiving communication from the school, which was obviously a very huge deal for us to make sure that they're constantly in contact. Yeah, if you have a very small audience and you can supplement with email, it's something we would highly recommend.
Can you tap for me? I'm afraid I'm going to break your phone. So if we go for the next one, another important thing for us, and you know, most of the times you're dealing with social media, and relevance is obviously something that you are absolutely familiar with. If you ran one campaign in your life, you know what a difference it makes if you manage to stay relevant. We wanted to show you an example where we were talking about or working with a brand called ERB, Educational Record Bureau. Not necessarily the most emotional connection immediately from a brand name, right? Just the name Educational Record Bureau doesn't really sound like a brand that I really need to become friends with and listen to every single piece of communications that they push out. But what they stand for is actually all the admission testing in all the private schools, or most of the private schools in the United States. So what it actually stands for is an amazing topic. It stands for education, it stands for passion, it stands for making a difference in students' life. So basically we actually shifted the focus from ERB and we turned all our channels into pathways to learning with ERB. Specific when we are communicating. That one step further, our main target audience was obviously teachers. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to inspire our audience and really show them that we are part of their world. We understand what they are doing and we understand how they act. So we created this campaign, which was the TGI campaign, which was celebrating, can you go back? Which was celebrating Mondays instead of Fridays. You think that we are crazy. But in this specific case, we built on a true insight. You know, starting the week for these teachers can be very difficult. We are working against the Sunday blues. So we actually posted this campaign on Sundays, not on Mondays. And what we wanted to tell teachers is that every Monday is a new opportunity in making a difference in a student's life. And immediately it became a lot more relevant for them. Also building on insights and on a movement, we tried to create inspirational quotes where we again talked about teaching and the importance of teaching and the importance of the teachers' roles. Of course, again, this is a post from last January and it looks like it's 200 years old. I apologize. But back then we didn't have the 20% rule, for example, for paid media, so this would never fly these days. But if I tell you that we are talking about the Educational Record Bureau and we put $10 behind this to get over 680 shares, then that's definitely an amazing result. Of course, I'm lying a bit because once we've seen the success of the $10 post, we put another $20 behind it. So I'm actually talking about $30 when it comes to the 680 shares. But we were building a community of educational leaders and teachers. So actually those shares were a lot more important for us than any other metric that was out there.
Next, we're going to get into the emotional connection, and you'll find a common theme here is they work with a lot of government agencies in the city. One of our clients is actually the Department of Sanitation, and more specifically, we worked on the social media of their recycling initiative. Before we took over, their NYC Recycles page was very process-oriented. You know, put this bottle in this kind of bin, you pickups will happen on this kind of day. It was very much just speaking to the audience, but not really doing anything for them. And the big thing was that there was very much a disconnect between New York City and the messaging that they were putting out. They could have posted those exact same posts on anywhere from Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon, and you wouldn't know the difference because it had nothing to do with New York City, other than the occasional mention of a borough. However, we felt that they really needed to bring that New York City connection. As New Yorkers, we're very prideful. We love our city. We're unique in some very special ways as New Yorkers.
Just so you know, when we presented this campaign, I was actually playing the Jay-Z Concrete Jungle song.
Yeah, Empire State of Mind.
Just to get my point across.
So we came up with this. We kept all the process-oriented posts that they were keeping, but we supplemented some of these more, emotional connecting posts about how different New Yorkers are. We walk fast, we dodge tourists, and we navigate the concrete jungle. Not many people do it the way New Yorkers can do it. I don't know if you guys are out-of-towners have experienced the people walking past you really fast. It's kind of a common thing. And then we supplement it with the "We are New York, we recycle." So just bringing that connection back. It's like, yes, we are New Yorkers. Yes, we walk fast. Yes, we tend to ignore people. We have our headphones on when we're in the subway. Yes, we, as you'll see later on, we don't cook. We order out all the time. But at the same time, we are all New Yorkers together, and we do recycle in order to make this city a better place. So we've done 11 total initiatives with New York City Recycles. Each of them with their totally own strategies. This is everything from expanding an organics collection program in a couple of neighborhoods in a single borough, all the way to a full-on rebranding. They're actually no longer NYC Recycles, it's NYC Zero Waste. That was something else we did. But in the first week of just establishing these emotional New York, we are New York, we recycle posts, we had the 14% increase in fans. Engagement went up 300% and total reach went up 600%. It was just something that brought everybody together, something they could connect with, and the results were astounding. Next, we went a step further, and we actually brought their bins to life, if you will. They had some of these leftover little 4-inch tall Beanie Baby type things. We call them binnies. They're the most adorable things you'll ever see in your life. So we actually physically placed them in various places throughout the city and just took pictures. They had so many of these things left over, like, we want to get rid of them, how do we get rid of them? So we said, let's just do a very simple game on social media. We'll take a picture, we'll post it, we'll say, guess the location, and you'll have the chance to win your own set. People went absolutely nuts for this. So we had over 200,000 impressions from these posts. They averaged over 450 likes, comments, and shares for each post. And we had 8 times higher engagement compared to the average post that was on here. And while those numbers are nice and they were great to see, the best thing was, as people were getting their binnies, they actually wrote back to us saying, hey, we just got our binnies, thanks so much. Then all of a sudden people started taking pictures of their binnies when they got them and sharing them back on the page. And then people started taking pictures of their binnies in their community with their family and friends and started posting them to our page. It just went crazy. There was binnies all over my news feed, and it was a little scary. They are adorable though.
My favorite comment was, how do you recycle them?
Being a foreigner and being English, my second language, I love these make-believe words like cancel. But what's really important for us is basically, I don't have to explain to you how busy social media is these days. We really want to get across our message really quickly, and one of the things that we can do to do that is first of all storytelling, and the other thing that was very successful for us in the past is infographics, and turning infographics into bite-sized content to actually promote the infographic. So basically, we had a campaign for the Department of health. April is the STI or STD Awareness Month, and we wanted to talk about sexually transmitted infections to teenagers. Best campaign ever. The easiest challenge. There's nothing better than talking to teenagers about sex on social media. But what we managed to do with this one is to try to be as playful as possible by telling the story. For example, instead of just doing charts, we were using condoms visually to make it a tiny bit more interesting. And instead of just communicating the infographic itself, really sharing these very glanceable, bite-sized messages. And I have to admit that we were very nervous about this campaign, and how much engagement are we going to get when we are talking about STIs. But at the end, the campaign actually performed really well, getting over 6,000 clicks to the infographic. And what we are most proud of, again, is the shares, 343 of them. At least during that time, the teenagers were sharing the message and not the STIs, so that's already a big success.
The next thing we're going to go over is multiple messages. With a small budget, you're really forced to try to share a lot of information in a very concise manner. However, if you have different kinds of messages and trying to put them all together at once, it can be very overwhelming for people, and especially if you're utilizing paid media platforms, Facebook and Instagram, you're limited with the amount of text that you can actually write on a given visual. So one thing that we've grown to love and utilize is carousel ads. So this is one that we did for CUNY. It was celebrating their CUNY month. They really wanted to showcase the CUNY value and bring more people in for campus stores, get more signups. So for this campaign specifically, we actually had the one campaign of meeting these goals. But we created 26 audiences for this campaign. And this was everything from targeting people who are interested in specific schools at a given age, targeting alumni, because another portion of this campaign wasn't just signing up for the campus stores, it was actually tag a friend who you think should go to your school. So we wrote that out on Instagram. Post got, 250 some odd comments of people just tagging like, hey, you're looking for your opportunity, now's your chance. Like, sign up and come join me at whatever school. So again, we're going back to the carousel ad here. So as you see, the very first visual is playing off the Sign Up and Win campaign. But then the next one, we're talking about that value of CUNY. They have campuses in all 5 boroughs, so there's probably one that's very close to you that you'll be able to attend. And then we're actually showcasing 4 of those specific schools, again, another message, but then bringing it back to the sign-up campaign. So carousel ads are a nice way for you to be able to get really creative with your messaging and spread multiple messages in a single ad set, which is great. Again, we had 1.3 million impressions in this 1 month time, which is amazing. And we generated over 29,000 total clicks. This went to either CUNY or to the sign-up page where they actually signed up for the campus stores. And again, we supplemented this with some emails. So 89% of people opted in to continue receiving communication. Great, because if they're signing up and you want to get back in touch with them in case they don't show up, you want to get back with them. So we love that number.
And we're going to speed it up a bit because I want to leave time for questions as well. These were the examples so far. We're going to stop bragging now. And we're going to tell you a bit about how we work and what's important for us when we are developing these campaigns. Just if I go back for one thing, the importance of email that we keep talking about. Why are we talking about email when we are talking about social media campaigns? It's simply when we are talking about the smaller budgets, these channels are actually, from our experience, are talking very nicely to each other. And we can have a very nice traffic going from email to social, and also from social back to email for sign-up campaigns and so on. But what's really important for us is actually quality and focus over quantity. What do we mean by that? Again, going back to the intern example who pushes out all these amazing content, and I'm pretty sure that the intern can do a great job in doing great visuals, sometimes even great copy, but what we have to know is why we are actually doing these things. So what we believe in is always tying back our social media campaigns to marketing initiatives instead of just trying to be present and trying to push out as much content as possible on every single platform all the time. So it's really important to understand why we are doing this. So what we believe in when it comes to a small budget, what's really important for us is to stand out. And standing out doesn't just mean having creativity when it comes to the messaging. For us, it's very important that we are creative when it comes to the actual strategy, when it comes to the targeting. Every single aspect of our process has to be very creative. We don't have, with a small budget, we don't have the opportunity to make mistakes, and we need to get the most out of our dollars. So everywhere we are thinking, whatever we are thinking about, it's always creativity. How could we do this better? How could we do this more effectively? And obviously, the more competitive the market is, the more important it is to stand out. Now, you're probably going to think I'm crazy that I'm putting up a chart with about organic reach. All of you know that organic reach is kind of dead, especially on Facebook. We've been talking about this on Social Media Week for a year and a half now. But what's very important for us, do we still need paid media when we are talking about a small budget? The answer is absolutely yes. From our perspective, you know, it might work differently for your brand, but for us, we don't just need it for pushing out our messages, but actually paid media gives us the opportunity for targeting. And when we have a small budget, it's really important for us that we actually target and we focus on the most important target audience that we can talk to. It might be 26 different target audiences, but it's still a very specific audience with very relevant messages, and paid media gives us that opportunity. Sometimes we, as I mentioned to you earlier, sometimes we spend $15 or $10 on a post promotion. So it doesn't mean that we need to rob a bank and spend $200,000 on a post, but the targeting is really important for us. Another important thing is actually relevance, trying to be always as relevant as possible. And the way we do that is most of the time we actually start the focus group session. The focus group sessions don't mean that we actually test creatives with the focus groups. I'm not a huge fan of testing creative ideas with focus groups, but what we do is we have a small conversation with our target audience to really understand who they are and how they act and how they consume media and what are their challenges and needs in their life, to really dig as deep as possible. And instead of focusing on who they are, we like to focus on, you know, other than the demographic, on the psychographic. And a brand that does that amazingly is Seamless. I don't know how many of you are from your creative by crowdsourcing it to your audience. After we have this conversation and we start to decide strategically who our audiences is different from a generic target audience. And sometimes audiences on a $10,000 budget, they usually start crying, but we are really 60% of them be successful. We are still more successful than if we would have gone with a generic target audience. One of the examples for that, what we did was actually for MCU, and they launched MCU Square. The student we did this micro-targeting. There we had 19 target audiences talking to, instead of just saying, you know what, are you in New York City and are you a college student? Come and join our credit union. Instead, we wanted to be very specific to the individual colleges, because every college is different, and we can highlight different connections in the copy about their specific school. Immediately brings that pride for those colleges to the paid advertisement media budget. If you have small budgets, you can set up a campaign on a Friday and you don't know what just happened because the engagement is not there. So for us, it's very important media budgets. And sometimes what we do these days with our social media clients, they actually traditional creative concepts on social media. So we are going beyond social and actually testing a marketing initiative on social media channels. These are the three things that we believe in. I think everybody has a different rule book about education and the teachers. You know, really discovering that passion, the relevance in connection with passion. We've seen amazing numbers when it came to the shares through that campaign. And over here I said head, but I really meant wallet. You know, like before we want them to do something for us and consume our connection, I'm not going to go into storytelling. Last year, Social Media Week was all about storytelling. You couldn't go to a session that didn't mention storytelling. And getting that emotional connection is a lot easier through that. The other thing is being novel. Our audience loves to learn something new. We love to teach them something new. And you're probably thinking that I'm crazy. You know, you're working with the same brand all the time. You know, you have the exact same marketing initiative that you tell them. Sometimes it's not a new information. Sometimes it's dressing up the same information or the same product benefit in a different way and making it new through that. For us, it was STIs. The STI campaign was a very good example of this. All those scary statistics about chlamydia or HIV end up in a different way. Immediately connects with that audience, and we are developing, memorable. We talked about standing out and making an impact, but sometimes we are marketeers, we are guilty about being in love with our own initiatives and our own products too much. We know too much about our brand. We know all those, our audience doesn't want to hear everything immediately at the same time. So going with plug over here, for us on small budgets, I have to admit that Twitter hasn't really been the most efficient platform. Twitter just sucks up your media budget like there is no other, and we just haven't seen the engagement like we've seen from Facebook, Instagram, or even Pinterest, for example. That's just us, you know, that might be totally different for you, but you know, it's totally transforming the way we are actually communicating, not just as brands, but as individuals. Information is below 10%. The same thing for verbal information is around 10%. With pictures, that goes up to 65%. That's amazing. That's 6 times the effort that we are doing with visuals than we would do with copy. And the other thing that we believe in, I'm pretty sure you heard about this before, the rule of threes, trying to always give information or rules or reasons to believe in the number 3s. That's why we have 3 rules: memorable, novel, and emotional. Hopefully you'll remember this 3 by the end of this.
So we're just going to quickly summarize most of the things that we said today and put it all together. So I'm going to use CrossFitters as an example right now. I don't know why it just popped in my head. Maybe I just ran with a couple CrossFitters this morning. If you are a CrossFitter, this means no offense to you.
Any CrossFitters?
Okay, good. I'm really going to make fun of them. So the first thing that you generally do is determine a goal. It's great because you want to be able to measure your results based on that goal. That's awesome. Then you select a target audience. If I'm a CrossFit gym, then I want to target people who are interested in CrossFit. That seems pretty simple. Then I want to cater the message to that audience. Bro, come to this sweet CrossFit gym. You're just going to stare at your computer, get these generic insights, maybe some clicks and engagement. Then in typical CrossFit fashion, you're going to flip that table because you're pissed at what you just saw. A goal, but for each initiative, you know, if you're doing something that's you know, digital advertising, or if you're just doing social media posts, you know, have goals for what the CPC is on that digital ad. Have goals for what you want that engagement to. Maybe moms who just had a baby in the past 6 months, you know, trying to get the baby weight off, you know, come to CrossFit. It's going to be a nice one. Or you can target another audience, which is guys who are about to get married in the next messaging off and know that you can get rid of that one. Test different call to actions. You can have the, you know, let's do this, bro, get you ready for your big day. Like, you can have different call to actions. And then pay like a pro for your ad. Your engagement will be up. And what does this all mean? Happy times, people. We're going to be really excited about what we got. Snapchat's another one right there. But you're just going to spread not only yourself really thin, trying to create messaging on all these different platforms. These monitoring tools that you're seeing, they offer amazing insights, great information, but not all that information is going to be relevant to you. There's plenty of free options out there that will dollars of it on the monitoring tool. I can't have time to post. Is it 12:37 p.m.? Like, is it that time? But the real question is, when is your audience online? All the time. They're always all the times. And obviously, if you're a New York-based company and you're targeting like California or you're targeting Europe, then you're going to need to account for the time difference in that situation, because people are going to see it as they're going through their news feed every hour, every 3 hours. People are going to see your message at some point. How many people here have over 1,000 page likes on their Facebook page? Very nice. Did you guys pay for those for them? This is really just a vanity metric. It really doesn't matter. The number of followers you have, the number of likes you have on your, but at the same time, the engagement on your post is what matters. If you're, they're just going to ignore it anyways. But getting those likes, I'm going back to the organic reach. You have to get 100 people in order to reach 6 of them on Facebook. So don't worry too much about that. If it's not right for you, I think you can have a great judgment as to whether or not the video is ideal for you. You have to spend a lot of time creating these videos, especially if you're new to it. I mean, obviously, if you're a seasoned vet, then you're all set and you can create them. But to actually see the sound, they're just going to scroll through. If your video catches their attention, then they'll keep going. But there's a lot of time.
If you present a social media week, make sure that the air conditioner is on around. We apologize for that.
Go with a daily budget. This is in relation to Facebook and Instagram. Perhaps Twitter as well, but again, Twitter doesn't really deserve it. Is if you set it on a lifetime budget, Facebook and Instagram are just going to spend it erratically. They're just going to absolutely jack it out. Like Instagram and Twitter, it is more expensive. Twitter for whatever reason, and Instagram just because it's a newer platform. They're trying to keep ads a little more seamless with their platform, so it's a more valuable click. So it's going to cost a little bit more. But you just always have to pay attention to what's going on. See how many times your ad is actually being served. If your ad's being served more than 2 times to people, this is the frequency metrically. And lastly, use email and influencers to multiply. We'll get to this in a moment. Email is an obvious one. We talked about it. Last thing you can do is hire us. We'll do it for you. Best bang for your buck. One example that we do with this was John Jay once again. So we can talk all we want about how great John Jay is. And it's going to be in the same way as it's going to come word of mouth wise from some of your friends. So we posted one.
40-50% of mobile versus desktop, it is mobile.
You don't even have to publish it on Facebook, take business page. You can test all your things on there, download the Pages app and Facebook Ads app, and you see if you can supplement email, it's going to greatly impact. The thing that we did, even if you just have a little thing that you can give away, it's going to make a big result, especially a little contest, put a few dollars against it, and give some information, share it on social media, and put a few dollars against it to send it out to people. What you do is you'll get clicks, your social media ads or your Google ads to those people and bring them back for repeat business.
We really feel that small budget is not most award-winning campaigns are actually under 20,000. Experiment with it more than other. Sometimes you learn more just by being forced to do really unique and valuable things. We actually, our brand VGD looks like in the back, but if you would like, if I can say one thing about what I recommend for you to do, we wanted to give you a little notebook in a different way and hopefully contributing to great success to your campaign. And we're going to be around throughout the entire event. Say hi to us. We'd love to get to know you better, exchange information, and hope. I would like to rest of it. So, how many of you were sent by my mom? Yeah. All right, come on, Brandon.
Everybody's going on my Snapchat story too.
Describe the community for the rest of the audience. So yes, sometimes it's just an awareness campaign, organics collection campaign that we did, and it was actually rolled out beautifully. So yeah, sometimes we have those metrics. We didn't stop STIs yet, but we're working on it. So hopefully next year.
To stop an audience, do you reallocate?
So no, really depends on some of the audiences will be more important to us, some of them will be less important to us. We allocate the entire thing for the new budget. Very good. An email collection, an email sign-up campaign in itself. Sometimes with
During that lead generation, do you also kind of try to do you ask questions to those audiences that are opting in to understand a bit more about or so on?
That's for email.
In a successful campaign, you cannot ask for too much. Like, you always have to balance that. We do it for CUNY, we are interested in the actual schools that they are interested in. And
short and sweet. Again, if you're asking too many questions, then they're just going to lose it.
I'm going to give you an example now.
The overall reach.
Most of the time, we're actually.
So I really like all the creative edge type creative makes in user engagement. With all the creativity, with all the great copywriting that you've done, with all the great infographics that Creative One got 1,000 likes, and it cost us $100 to hire that designer to do it. So that $100, actually $900 extra.
It was